life of a Hollywood actor can seem a blessed one. Getting paid to dress up and pretend, attending fancy parties, the adoring eyes of the world cast upon you. When things are going well, it's a pretty decent way to make a living. When things aren't going your way though, it's a different story. When times get tough, they get really tough. We've seen many an actor suddenly start to stagnate. They get on a bad run of films, churn out a stream of flops, critically, commercially, or both. Still, we should spare a thought for these actors and actresses. Sometimes talent and effort have nothing to do with it. The world just conspires against you. And so I am Kirsten from What Culture, and these are 10 actors who can't catch a break. Number 10, Ewan McGregor. From a critical sense, there's nothing wrong with Ewan McGregor's recent filmography. His selection of roles have become savvier as he's aged, and he has found interesting parts in the likes of Miles Ahead. In his more mainstream work, he tends to be the best thing about a movie, and he was a revelation on the small screen in his Fargo dual role. The problem is that commercially, McGregor seems somewhat less savvy. T2, Trainspotting, and Christopher Robin were reasonable successes, but Birds of Prey fell to break even, and the Shining sequel, Dr. Sleep, was disappointing for an adaptation of the usually bankable Stephen King. McGregor is due to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi in a new Disney Plus series, but recent global events have seen this setback, and this April a new writer was brought in to rework the script. Number 9, Morgan Freeman. An Oscar winner, Hollywood legend, and possessor of one of the all-time greatest voices,
I'm God.
Morgan Freeman doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. Now 83 years old, if he were to retire, he could reflect on a career not without its dips, but laden with some of the greatest films of recent years. He doesn't though, and that's sort of the problem. Freeman retains the work ethic of a man half his age, and while that's admirable, it does mean that the duds are starting to top up. Recent years have seen him star in the Fallen series as the US president, workman-like movies not befitting a man of his talents, and trying his hand at the old folks acting out genre of comedy, like True Dud Las Vegas. He is also delving into the straight-to-streaming quagmire, appearing with John Travolta in The Poison Rose, a Rotten Tomatoes 0%er. His desire to keep on acting is only to be applauded. He just needs to balance the commitment to his craft with a commitment to quality control. On the other hand, with a legacy like this, who are we to tell him what to do? Number 8, Jennifer Garner. She has never been the most prolific of actresses, but in the mid-noughties, when Jennifer Garner appeared in a movie, it was generally one of reasonable status. Big screen-wise, she possibly peaked in 2007's Juno. As the expecting adoptive mother, she is genuinely award-worthy, and could have continued down that reputable indie path. Instead, she put out a series of rom-coms, including Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, and the truly appalling Invention of Lying. It has been primarily forgettable fare for Garner since then, with a supporting turn in Oscar fave Dallas Buyers Club the rare exception. Garner seems to have a full schedule off screen, with various charity and campaigning commitments, so it may just be that Hollywood has lost its luster somewhat. Number 7, Will Smith. While the former Fresh Prince's recent career choices haven't been as disastrous as others on this list, when you've been at the pinnacle of the movie business like he has, the drop-off is significantly greater. A dozen or so years back, Smith had it all going on. Not only was he the biggest box office draw in the game, the rapper turned actor was being taken more seriously with every passing year thanks to serious work in The Pursuit of Happiness and others. Even in lesser movies like Hancock, Smith was always a delight to watch, charismatic and increasingly versatile. The decline started with 2013's After Earth, in which Smith starred alongside son Jaden. A major bomb, its failure led the star to taking 18 months off, and he's yet to recover his momentum. Of late, he has been most noteworthy for his complex relationship with wife Jada Pinkett Smith, which the pair discussed at length on her Facebook show. A guy as slick and charming as Smith will no doubt bounce back, but he's certainly on a creative cold streak. Number 6, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson's problem is that she started far too strong. With a scene-stealing performance in Bridesmaids and an even better one in the Pitch Perfect series, she created hugely memorable characters before she herself became well known as an actress. It meant she got cast in more roles, but they were very much more of the same roles. Since then, she has appeared in a number of films as more or less the same person, brimming with unearned confidence, no filter between brain and mouth, catastrophically clumsy, but ultimately good-hearted. It's a role she plays to perfection, but she's getting little chance to expand her horizons. What's worse, the quality is really only going one way. Grimsby was a flop. Isn't It Romantic was fine at best, and The Hustle was an embarrassment for Wilson and Anne Hathaway alike, though it was admittedly a commercial sleeper hit. She was solid in Jojo Rabbit, but the critical view on that film is in freefall. Wilson sorely needs a change of pace because she's a superb comedic talent when used properly. She shifted gears with last year's Cats, but that's not really what we had in mind. Number 5. Liam Neeson. You can divide Neeson's career roughly into two chunks, pre-Taken and post-Taken. For the first part of his career, he was an increasingly sought-after character actor and later leading man, with an incredible dignity and ability to summon amazing emotion without ever hamming it up. In classics like Schindler's List and even enjoyable schlock like Love Actually, Neeson's gravitas and presence made roles. The Taken series changed all that. Suddenly, the Oscar nominee was transformed into a ruthless, tough guy, grunting his way through battles with terrorists, kidnappers, and eventually wolves in the grey. Presumably fearing being typecast more than he already has been, that is, Neeson put a hold on the action movies after The Commuter, but perhaps he'll be rethinking that strategy in time, as he seems to be less of a commodity than he was, his schedule noticeably lighter. The absolutely insane interview he gave to The Independent concerning a dark moment in his past certainly won't help matters, though given the content of that, he seems to have got off surprisingly easy. Number 4. MISCHA Barton. When MISCHA Barton walked away from teen drama The OC in its third season to pursue a big screen career, you wouldn't have bet against her. She was arguably the show's breakout star, certainly became its biggest name, and seemed to have the world at her feet. It's safe to say it hasn't gone to plan for the former Marissa Cooper. Things started well enough with a marquee role in the revived St. Trinian's movie, but as far as commercial prospects go, that's probably as good as things got for the actress, which tells you everything you need to know. 2010 indie noir Assassination of a High School President was a seriously good film, but financial issues ruined its distribution. From there, she has appeared in little of note. The name recognition is still there, and she tends to land starring roles, but these are straight-to-streaming genre flicks that you've never heard of, with the titles like LA Slasher and Ouija House. Barton is now a cast member of reality TV show The Hills: New Beginnings, which can't have been what she had in mind when she walked away from Southern California the first time. Number 3. Johnny Depp. Let's leave his recent legal difficulties to one side, as the ongoing court case is too complex and undefying to get into. Even without that, Johnny Depp has been creatively adrift for many years now, as a result of some seriously strange career choices. Depp's star rose steadily throughout the 80s and 90s as he mixed intriguing indies with breakthrough hits and collaborated with the likes of Jim Jarmusch and often Tim Burton. He hit the big time as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates franchise, one of the all-time greatest casting choices, and seemed unstoppable. Since then, his hit rate has been remarkably poor. Someone isn't giving him the advice he needs. For every Public Enemies, there's a Transcendence. For every Sweeney Todd, a Mordecai. What's worse, Depp is so clearly not invested in half his films. When he doesn't want to be there, he makes no effort to hide it. Depp still remains hugely famous, but he's at danger of becoming a risky proposition for a producer. Number 2. Matt Smith. Matt Smith emerged from relative obscurity to land the title role in Doctor Who, and you'll find few who will disagree that he did a terrific job. Leaving the beloved series a lot younger than most other actors, it seemed that the world was at his feet. While he has received great notices for theatre work and has played Prince Philip to acclaim on The Crown, it's fair to say that Smith is struggling to crack the movies. He was cut from cult hit In Bruges, then appeared in Terminator Genesis, which may be the worst in the franchise, and that's saying something. The film adaptation of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was a flop, failing to recoup even its modest budget, and his more recent efforts have gone straight to streaming and bad reviews. He has a chance to make things right with a major role in Marvel movie Morbius, though we'll be waiting a while for that one. It's been pandemic bumped to 2021. Number 1. Bruce Willis. He's one of the biggest box office stars on Earth, and has appeared in some era-defining action movies. Bruce Willis certainly could catch a break once upon a time, but he can't anymore. It can be hard to remember when you last saw his big, bold head on screen, but that's not for lack of trying on his part. He's never been more prolific. The problem is everything he releases is swerving the cinemas. He has also resurrected or dragged out some of his franchises, Unbreakable, Die Hard, Sin City, all to diminishing returns. The latter in particular should have been big news. Instead, it was a flop that no one got excited about. Glass was solid, but frankly, no one's watching that for Bruce. Willis used to have an air of unflappable cool, more interested in playing the blues or opening restaurants than honing his craft. Now there's something a little desperate about him. He can still be great, see Moonrise Kingdom. It's just that all too often, he's anything but. And there you are, the 10 actors who just can't catch a break. Aw. Poor old Brucey, eh? If you liked this video, give it a big old thumbs up, and if you haven't already, click that subscribe button as well as the little bell icon to be notified of any new videos coming your way. But for now, I have been Kirsten Ria from More Culture, and I'll see you in the next video.